You're about to listen to a brand new episode of the Foreign Lady podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Now, let's get to the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Foreign Lady podcast. I'm your host, Liz. And on today's episode, I have a very special guest today. So on today's show, I have Dr. Angela Casey. She is a board certified dermatologist and mom of three who created a company called Bright Girl that helps tweens and teens start early habits. And after years of seeing preventable skin issues with her patients in her practice, she set out to start up a skincare line and skincare examples that are simple, safe, and confidence building for our next generation. I'm so excited to talk to her today because I think it's important in some of her work. We're going to chat with her about her work as a dermatologist and also what got her interested in starting Bright Girl. So let's welcome Dr. Casey to the show. Hi, Dr. Casey. How are you?
Great, Liz. How are you doing? It's such an honor to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. So I start every show by asking everyone just how they're doing, just a little mental health check. Sometimes it's been like a crazy week and we just need someone to just say, how are you doing? So how are you doing today?
I love that is how you start your podcasts because it is so important, that check-in, and it's so meaningful when somebody else takes the time to check in. So thank you for that. I am in my typical whirlwind busyness of life, which I love and I think I thrive on, and that sometimes tires me out a little bit at this stage.
Yeah.
So that's normal. Today, I did 11 Mohs surgeries. So those are complex skin cancer surgeries and reconstructions. And now I'm joining you. And then after this, I was invited to be a guest by a creator on a TikTok live. So it's a long day, and I have many days like this, but I am such a believer in using my skills and talent to help other people. And that is not only in my work as a dermatologist and Mohs surgeons, it's also through platforms such as this, where we can connect with others and educate and inform a larger audience. And the same thing through TikTok lives. It's really an opportunity to connect with the community, to answer their questions, and to inform them in an evidence-based manner.
Absolutely. Can you talk to us a little bit more about your work as a dermatologist? Just, where your practice is, how long you've been practicing, and just some of the, I guess, skincare issues that you've been seeing lately.
Absolutely. So I practice in Columbus, Ohio, and I've been in practice here for about 17 years. I'm a double board certified dermatologist and micrographic dermatologic surgeon. So what that means is that in my practice, I really specialize on skin cancer treatment and reconstructive surgery through a procedure called Mohs surgery, where I surgically remove skin cancers while patients are in office. I then examine the skin that I've surgically removed under the microscope while the patient is waiting in office. I use that technique to track and map out the cancer cells to ensure that we are clear at all the margins. And then I do reconstructive surgery. So that's the focus. And it kind of leads into my work with Bright Girl Skincare, which is really focused on prevention, education, and skin health, but targeted towards younger generations. So really Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and communicating in a way that we can hopefully change the trajectory of skin cancer, which is the number one cancer worldwide for their generation, and really see those rates start to decrease.
Okay. Can you just talk to us a little bit about sort of what the mission of Bright Girl is? Because, I didn't learn about skincare until I was an adult, right? Like, it's not something you're taught about, or it's not talked about, especially when it comes to like SPF, or especially for people of color, right? We sort of have like the melanin in us and we're like, oh, we're fine, we don't need SPF, right? But that's not necessarily true. It drew me to what you're doing, is really starting that conversation at a young age, in a pivotal age of, we need to start looking into taking care of our skin and really putting in the work while we're young versus waiting until we're older. Is that sort of how you sort of picture that, or what inspired Bright Girl?
Yeah, you really led into this so beautifully, Liz. So there's probably not one of your listeners who has not thought about their skin, been concerned about their skin, maybe it is something that is a priority for them every day, or maybe it's not until there's a problem or an issue. And then it becomes a big priority and becomes very top of mind. So skin is common to all of us, no matter what our race, background, ethnicity, we've all got it, right? And it is our largest organ. And for many of us, our skin is a very important priority in terms of our overall health. When our skin is looking vibrant and it's glowing and it's bright and it's clear, that is projecting to the world around us we're healthy and we're well rested. And we've got, on the other hand, when your skin is dull, dry, dehydrated, stressed, that's also coming through in our interactions. And when we are broken out, we've got sensitive skin, acne, eczema flares, and especially if it's in visible areas of our skin, that's all we're thinking about with so many interactions, right? When we're
Yeah.
talking to someone, they're like looking at that big pimple on my chin,
Yeah.
even though they may or may not be. So it's very personal to all of us. The other part of what you discussed about really connecting with young people is that we as dermatologists know that the skin cancers that we're treating in our office today didn't start 5 or 10 years ago. The damage that was the seed that planted, that led and grew into that skin cancer started way back in childhood and teenage years when that individual is outside. Maybe they were playing sports, maybe they were working on the farm, or they were on vacations at the beach. They were getting sunburns, they were getting that sun damage. And it does not matter what your skin type is. I see skin cancers in all skin tones. Yes, the majority of what I treat are in fair-skinned individuals, but I see plenty in darker-skinned individuals as well. So it really is kind of a global health epidemic, and it is the number one cancer worldwide. It affects 1 in 5 Americans by age 70. And the burden on the healthcare system in the US, we're spending nearly $9 billion a year on skin cancer treatment. So I see this opportunity that we have to get our younger people, our teens, our tweens, our college students really educated and empowered and starting those daily habits to prevent, because prevention is the best medicine. It's just like brushing and flossing our teeth every day, right? When we do it
Yeah.
consistently, we're going to see those long-term benefits.
Yeah. And you're a mom of three girls.
That's
Were they
correct.
the ones who sort of inspired Bright Girl? Like, did you encourage them to start, taking care of their skin early? Like, what sort of sparked that idea for you to start this skincare line?
Well, I think as moms, all of us start skincare for our children really from the time that
Yeah.
they're born,
I
right?
started it for my boy too. Even boys, you should get into skincare too. Men should get into it too. It's not just for women.
100%. It is really, it's a health issue. It's a skin health issue. It affects all genders, all ages. It's very important to get in those habits. So from the time our children are born, we're bathing them with specific cleansers that are gentle and safe for their skin. We're moisturizing their skin. We're putting sunscreen or using sun protective measures. So I would argue that skincare starts the moment that they enter our world, the moment they come out of the womb. We're caring for them. Where young people really start to develop opinions and agency in their decision making when it comes to skincare is usually around 8. Around age 8. So what I was seeing in my own daughters was this mismatch of how the beauty industry was communicating, and that they are telling you, buy this, buy that, do use this serum, and they're having these complicated regimens because it benefits them, because they're selling more product. What was being promoted on social media, and then what was being talked about from a health perspective, which my 12-year-old could care less about maybe getting a skin cancer in the future. Like, that message just doesn't resonate with her.
Right.
Most young people. So there was this large void in the marketplace of a skincare brand that was really tailored to them, that was very cool and engaging, that the formulations were so above and beyond exceptional and performed so well. It really knocks their socks off. They're like, wow, like, I cannot believe how good this cleanser feels on my skin.
Yeah.
And my gosh, I love putting on this sunscreen. When you can provide them with skincare like that, but that's also been specifically formulated and specifically tested to be safe for their skin and efficacious in keeping their skin clear and healthy, that's such a win. It's almost like you trick them into using it. You get them so excited about using it that they start to adopt those consistent habits into their routine. And that is what sets the foundation, because when you catch them at this young age, they're much more likely to stick with those habits lifelong. And it comes back to that old saying, prevention is the best medicine. When we can prevent, we're leaps and bounds ahead. And that's a real failure in the healthcare system as we know it today. We wait too long for disease to occur, then we diagnose and we treat it. And that's what's promoted. So we have a real opportunity here.
Yeah, I agree, especially with our, with our young girls, and with so much. It seems like there's a new beauty product coming on the market every day, and sometimes it just gets so overwhelming, even for adults, right? Let alone, our young women, our young girls who are trying to find something that works for their skin, who are just trying to get a nice cleanser and a moisturizer and go play sports or something. So I think having something like Bright Girl that is made for them, that's easy, that they don't have to sort of think about, because it's like you're reading all of these ingredients, you're trying to figure out which one's what. It does get overwhelming. So I think having this sort of streamlined brand for them is such a great help.
Thank you. I'm curious, what are your thoughts as a mom? How do you approach skincare, A, for yourself, and B, like as a mom? And what questions do you have? Or maybe it is clear and you have answers or solutions on what you like.
That is a great question. I started my son very early with the skincare because so I didn't deal with acne as a kid. So I didn't really have to figure that part out. So it took me maybe that's why it took me a long time to try and figure out, what my skin type is, what my T's are, like all of that good stuff I had to kind of figure out later in life. And so when I saw him sort of struggling with acne, I was like, okay, maybe we can try to get you a cleanser or something that we can start now, so we're not having to deal with this as you're getting older. So I think I've always tried to ingrain that in him since he was younger, and I would buy certain products for him just to keep it simple, not go overboard. But I think for me, I think it's still complicated, like it's still very much overwhelming, because it just seems like people are throwing products at you, and as a parent, you're kind of like, okay, which one do I get for my kid? Which one do I get for myself? Which one is vegan? Which one is not vegan? Like, it's so much to think about. So I just wish that they would make it easy, but I understand it is a big market. And I want to also talk about the social media aspect of it. I think it's a little different for maybe young men than young women because of the beauty standards that we're seeing on social media. The beauty standards that you talked about that we're seeing on our TV ads or movies and TV shows or whatever it might be, and we're projecting these beauty standards on our girls and our children that we should not be projecting on them, especially at a young age.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And confidence is a big part of this conversation. Just
Absolutely.
as you were saying, for your son, you wanted to help him. You wanted to equip him with the resources to help clear his acne. And with that comes the increased confidence. It's one less thing that he needs to worry about then, in the midst of everything else that our poor teens have to worry about.
Yeah, it's a rough age. It really is a tough age, that sort of teen age. It's a challenging age for them. It's a challenging age for parents. I think having information and having, people like you who are doing the work and getting the information out there to help parents and make informed decisions, I think that's really important, because I wish I would have met you earlier, and talked to you a lot sooner when I was dealing with certain things, because we don't get these information, and we really need to.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think that's what many of us as dermatologists who are speaking out on social media, who have the opportunity to connect with individuals like you that have built these incredible communities, it is our way of getting out and educating, again, in a very data-driven, fact-based, not marketing, not emotional, not telling an anecdotal story. Like, these are the studies and this is the research. One thing I want to point out is that we now have a tremendous amount of research in dermatology that demonstrates and proves that the simple act of having a consistent skincare regimen has tremendous benefit for acne. And really all that involves, I'm going to whittle it down for your audience and simplify it. Cleanse your skin at night with a gentle pH balanced cleanser. Moisturize your skin at night with a moisturizer that is appropriate for your skin. So you have to take into consideration if you're oily or dry or combination, etc. But those two things as the only components of your evening regimen are all that you need. The cleanser is going to get off all the dirt, oil, sweat, pollutants, everything you've come in contact with during the day so that your skin kind of reset and be fresh. That moisturizer is going to provide the hydration and support that your skin and your skin barrier needs so that it can recover and repair, and the circulation is optimized and it can kind of clear out all the junk that's accumulated over the course of the day. And then in the morning, all you really need is a mineral-based sunscreen. You can take everything else out if you want to just, again, dial it down to the bare bones minimum, because that mineral-based sunscreen is going to protect your skin from ultraviolet, obviously. It's also going to work as a moisturizer. So it's going to help moisturize and hydrate your skin, again, supporting that skin barrier. If you just do those two things, those two steps in your skincare regimen, that is really all you need. Everything else is kind of extra, and it's not always bad unless we're piling too much onto our skin. And that's where things become confusing. And you mentioned through social media, of course, like our young people,
there's serums, there's this type of tonic water, there's all kinds of things.
So many things. And the get ready with me videos are showing 10 steps to the skincare regimen, or the morning shed routine. They're taking off their eye mask and their face mask and their lip mask and like everything. And I don't know if those creators actually sleep with all of that on, or if they're just making the video for entertainment value. But our young people see that and they start to think, I'm really missing out if I'm not doing that. They're not taking into account that many of these videos are made, again, purely to entertain and get more views and get more likes. And secondly, that many of these creators that look so bright and beautiful are using filters. And so they have this distorted reality of how they should look, what the expectations are. It puts a lot of pressure on them. It's not easy being a young person in today's society.
Yeah, I agree. I want to talk specifically about the products themselves. So as a dermatologist, what are some of the ingredients that you value that you are putting in Bright Girl that you think are worth the bang for your buck? Because there's so many ingredients, there's so many products that have so many ingredients, but just break it down for our audience at the basic level. What are some of the really good ingredients that you need to look for in a good skincare product?
Yeah, the most important is a mineral-based sunscreen. So let's start there.
Okay.
My like hero product for any skin type, again. And the active ingredients there, you're looking at zinc oxide and titanium dioxide.
And does Bright Girl have a okay?
Bright Girl has 2 mineral sunscreens. We have a tinted and we have a sheer option, because it was critical to me to be formulating products that work for a spectrum of skin tones. You and I have very different skin tones. I want my sunscreen to be exceptional and phenomenal and glowy and bright on your skin, and I want it to work on my skin too. And it has to work comprehensively, or else we haven't achieved the mission. We have to be so exceptional so that we do stand out. And so the individuals, especially young people who are very discerning consumers, really crave using the products every day. So also, just an important message for all the parents that are listening, mineral-based sunscreens are very minimally absorbed into the skin. So they kind of sit on the skin as a protective layer, which many parents feel more confident about, because we know that chemical sunscreen ingredients actually are absorbed into your bloodstream. And that can be concerning to some parents. We have studied this extensively. We have not found any harmful effects. It's really important to note that that's not a reason not to use those chemical-based sunscreens, because sometimes the formulation might work better for your individual skin, but it's important to be aware of that. So what did I choose to put in the Bright Girl sunscreens though? Purely mineral sunscreen ingredients, because I wanted to take the guesswork out for parents, or if they had any question in their mind, oh, I'm not so sure about the chemical sunscreen ingredients, they're absorbed, they can be a little bit more irritating to the skin, and we know that.
Right.
If they get in your eyes, they can really sting and burn. So let's just take all that guesswork out so that when they choose one of the Bright Girl sunscreens, they know what they're getting. So that was important. Likewise, leaving out certain ingredients was really critical. I didn't want any parabens in there. I didn't want any sulfates in there. I didn't want any phthalates, which can be possible hormone disruptors. I didn't want any synthetic fragrance, artificial dye, formaldehyde. There's a long, long list of ingredients that we know kind of comprehensively, but really within the dermatology literature, that can cause a host of issues for the skin. So when parents choose Bright Girl, they don't have to worry that one of those ingredients is going to sneak in. We've left them all out. So kind of, again, takes out that guesswork. What did we put in there? We went back to nature and really pulled on some of those beautiful natural ingredients: shea butter, coconut oil, squalane, marshmallow root, aloe, ashwagandha, turmeric, chamomile, witch hazel, so clay, these gorgeous ingredients from nature. And I'm not saying the products are not like purely all natural, because there can be some issues with that. But I think that they are the perfect intersection of where we bring in nature and we bring in science and we bring in all of the clinical research of what works in the skin and exactly how these ingredients perform in the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the basis as I was working with our chemists to create these formulations. And that was years of research and development. It took about 3 years to perfect these
Wow.
formulations and come up with and make sure that they were performing to the high standards that we set. And I'm really proud. I think we've created something really different and really special.
Right. Are you working on a line for adults, or can adults use Bright Girl too?
Adults
Asking
can
for a
use
friend.
Adults can use Bright Girl too. I use it every day, and so does my husband. And we are definitely not young teenage girls.
Okay.
The truth, like the foundational message, is that the products are very they're gentle, they're pH balanced, and they're really designed to support the skin. So that's a win for any adult that might be using a retinol or a vitamin C serum or some of the corrective ingredients that we need to use, because we frankly abused our skin when we were younger. I don't know about you, but I had far too many sunburns. I had a lot of inflammation in my skin. I used the wrong products for
Yeah.
decades of my life before I learned and before I knew better. So it's really important now at this stage in my life, A, that I'm intentional about correcting some of that damage, but B, that I pair that with the products that are going to really support my skin, strengthen it, give it the food and vitamins and nutrients that it needs,
Yeah.
help it repair, keep that skin barrier strong. And that's where the Bright Girl products come in.
That's awesome. So so I feel like there's been, maybe in the last 5 years or so, this burst of sunscreen, sort of like, oh, you have to add sunscreen to your. I don't remember that being, because I didn't used to use sunscreen, and I know a lot of people in my life didn't add sunscreen to their repertoire of skincare. You know, they had the cleanser and they had the moisturizer, but the sunscreen wasn't really something that we used a lot. And then now you talked about a lot of the mineral sunscreen that we need to add. Is that a recent development in sort of like the health world, or help me understand that a little better?
Yeah, I think it's a real win. And it comes from a combination of messaging from the American Academy of Dermatology and other dermatology organizations across the world, as well as on the local community level, the academic level, and social media and traditional media have really helped amplify that message. It is such an important message because skin damage is cumulative throughout our lives. For so many decades, we were just kind of doing what we did for the first few decades of our life until we got to be 30 or 40. And then we're like,
Mm-hmm.
all this damn, like, now we got to go like reverse all this and we got to do these
Right.
peels and lasers, and we've got pigmentation, and we've got scarring and mottled skin tone and all these issues. So as we begin to really understand and respect this, the shift in thinking was that every day, again, it comes down to those daily habits. And I'll use that analogy again, just like brushing and flossing your teeth. The sooner you start those habits, the more consistent you are, the more that they add up over time. It's like putting money in the bank. We're going to put in a little deposit every day, every day, every day. And that's going to build that wealth of our skin health, so that when we do get to be in our 40s and 50s and beyond, we have that strong foundation. Because our skin is aging, just like the rest of us. If we don't put in some of that work on the front end, we have a much harder battle to fight on the back end.
On doing my research with Parker, I noticed that the educational piece for the young girls were a big part of it. How important was that to you when sort of building this skincare line of the education piece and really educating not only our teens, but their parents as well? Because they're also a big part of this too.
Yeah, it circles back to our conversation earlier about the confusion in the marketplace, the mixed messages, different brands telling you, you need this and you need that and you need all these steps and this is what it's going to do. Or that influencer who's like, look at my skin, it's so gorgeous. This regimen. Knowledge is power. When we equip young people with that education and understanding, it stays with them lifelong. It's part of them. They can hold it, they can develop that confidence, they can share it with others, and it takes the guesswork out for parents. For many years, I think until recently, parents have kind of taken a back seat in this whole conversation. They didn't have an answer. If you went to most moms or dads and said, what skincare is best for your 12-year-old son, they'd be like, I don't know. Like, yeah, use whatever is at the drugstore, what I found at Target. Or, they might stick with just like a basic brand like a CeraVe or Cetaphil that's generally gentle. Issue with that is that those legacy brands don't always connect as strongly with young people. So you really have to give them a brand that empowers them, that excites them, that's a little bit different. And I don't want to say edgy, because I don't think we're an edgy brand. Like, we're kind of traditional and kind of preppy, but I'd like to think that we're fun and creative and interesting, that when you look at the packages and they're sitting in your bathroom sink, like, they invite you to come in and be part of that experience. But knowledge is power. And I think that when we start to break down some of those messages into bite-sized nuggets that young people can understand and stick with them, that's where you start to plant those seeds of, again, the knowledge, the confidence, the education that they'll carry with them throughout their lives. And then hopefully they'll share with their children and grandchildren one day.
Yeah. And was that sort of the motivation for, because I want, like, when did you realize that there was a gap missing in the market for, teen girls? Because there's so much beauty products out there, but when did you realize there needs to be something specifically tailored to them?
I realized it for many years, Liz, before I did anything about it, or before I knew how to tackle it, I should say. I heard it every day in my practice from patients for years. And I thought like, okay, how can I get around this? Maybe I need to write a book. Maybe I need to do a blog. Maybe I need to do an email newsletter. And, thought about it. And then I experienced it with my own girls when I would bring home skincare that I had access to as a dermatologist and all the great brands. And I get bombarded with samples, like trade size, like full size samples of products, like every skincare brand, like wants dermatologists to use it and recommend it. I brought those home for my girls and they said, Mom, we don't really like this. It's the packaging is kind of bleh. It doesn't smell good. It feels fine, but there's like nothing special about it. And they swung to the other extreme of wanting to go to major beauty retailers and pull all of these brands that were really geared towards more mature skin and frankly were damaging to their skin. So that was when the aha moment struck me that we have a real opportunity. And I didn't start Bright Girl to sell a bunch of lotion and cleanser and toner. I really started it as a platform to educate that younger generation. We're going to give you the tools to care for your skin, but we're also going to give you the tutelage, the understanding, the education that's part of that.
What were some of your challenges when working on Bright Girl? Because I mean, you're a mom, you're a dermatologist, you're a wife, you have a lot going on. So what were some of those challenges of having to juggle that and then being an entrepreneur and having to start this, this line? Talk to us about just how you were able to juggle that, because I right now feel like I can't even juggle my life and I only have one kid.
I am no different than any other mom out there. We are all juggling our stuff and we are all trying to time block and multitask and manage and juggle a lot
Yeah.
that goes on. What I will say, I'll sum it up. It takes a village. And that is true for all of us, whether it comes to childcare, whether it comes to helping with household duties, whether it comes to delegating projects at work or working with a team. Like, we do not have to do it all. There are certain things I have to let go of as a mom. My house will never be perfect unless we are hosting some, a family holiday at the house. And then it gets like, I try to get it perfect, but then it gets messy again. I have to let that go. It bothers me a bit, but it is what it is. I don't do as much cooking as I would like. I don't do as much of the household stuff as I would like. I think as moms, we have a tendency to want to do all of those things and care and provide for families. But I know I have limited bandwidth. And when I try to do all those things, it takes away from time with the family. And already my work takes a lot of my time, and
Yeah.
Bright Girl takes a lot of my time. I have no social life. Really, like very rarely
We
do I
moms
get to have.
never do.
It's very sad. My 15-year-old jokes, like, one day, mom, when we go to college, you'll get to go out with your friends again.
Yeah.
Like, until then, maybe not. But I think it's really, like, for me, what works, and it's important too. A priority for me is self-care. And I know you can connect with that. Like,
Yeah.
I try to carve out a little bit of time, like exercise, even if it's just going for a walk or getting to the gym for 20 minutes is really important to me. And I try to incorporate that into every day. And then also, like, the habits, like meal prepping, like having everything ready for my coffee in the morning, like little things like that really kind of set me up for success. But I find that I do well when I block time and I say, okay, I'm going to stop working on this, whatever this project for work at 6 p.m. I'm just going to
Mhm.
like shut it off. I'll finish it tomorrow. And I need to allocate from 7 to 8 p.m. to spend time with Michael before, I have my next thing. So it's, I think that is helpful, but I think we're all struggling. How do you
Yeah.
manage it? What do you do? What works for you?
So I'm into Pilates now. So I do an hour of Pilates a week, and I find that that is my only like me time to sort of just relax and not have to think about all of the things that I have to do. And that helps me out a lot because I have so much going on and there's so many things that, we have to deal with, and sometimes I'm like, I didn't even have dinner today. Like I didn't have breakfast today. I didn't have lunch today, So, but I think you're right. Really trying to carve out like a little bit of time for yourself is so important, because we try to be everything for everyone all at once, and we sort of don't take the time to take care of ourselves last. And I have been such a guilty of that, of like putting myself last, and it has not worked out. So I think like you're absolutely right, carving out, even if it's just 15-20 minutes of just some alone time, is very helpful for sure.
Self-care is healthcare. I
Yes.
always come back to that. Self-care is healthcare. And we use that a lot in Bright Girl messaging. It's not frivolous. It's not extra. It's not indulgent. We have to take care of ourselves. And for too many years, society messaged that as being selfish. And we as mom, especially, like, as moms, we were taught to just put our own needs on the back burner. Let's take care of everybody else. Well, I don't know about you, but like, for me, that doesn't work. And maybe
No.
I would be accused of being a little bit selfish at times, but I think it's self-preservation. I can't show up for everybody
Yeah.
unless I've taken care of some basic needs for myself. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not, and I think that's a great example for us to set for our children, because when we
Absolutely.
sacrifice everything about ourselves to do things for others, what kind of message is that sending to them? It's telling them, A, people are always going to put all their stuff aside to cater to you, and B, you should never advocate for yourself or do what you need to do. It's a terrible, it just is like a
It's
loop.
terrible messaging. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I have a fun question for you. If there was a dream collaboration that you would love to happen with Bright Girl, what would it be, or who would it be with?
I would say there are so many, but I'm going to go with Lululemon. And the reason is because that is a brand that empowers like health and wellness on so many levels, but that it's also like a very like I feel like they kind of welcome everybody into their community.
Yeah.
And I myself am a very active person. I like to be on the go. So I like that idea of a brand that always promotes that. Like you can look kind of cute and like still be in your athletic wear. So if you want to go for a jog in the middle of the day, like you're ready to go. If you want to run to the gym or you want to like go get a coffee with a friend after a workout, like you're still going to be like good. So it kind of again circles back to that like self-care motto, but doing that in a way that's like a little bit more fun and engaging and that you can have like your own style and your own spin on things.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think that I could totally see that. That is so awesome.
Lululemon executives, if you are
Right.
listening,
If
please
you're listening,
face with me. We'd be honored.
contact Dr. Casey. Contact Bright Girl.
We'll
That's
be
so
there.
wonderful.
We'll be ready. We got all sorts of ideas.
Okay, so if you had to, for any new client out there who wants to buy something or who are looking into Bright Girl, what are some products that you would absolutely recommend as like a kind of like a starter kit? Like if they're going on their website, which by the way, I'll give the audience the website right now. It is brightgirl.com. So you can go on there if you want to check it out. If you have any questions for Dr. Casey, you can they contact you on there?
Yes, they can contact us and I read a lot of those emails directly myself if it's something or my team will forward anything that's relevant. So one thing I don't give specific dermatology or skincare advice because I don't want to lead anyone in the wrong direction. It's not the same as seeing somebody as a patient. But in a general sense, or if you have a question about the products or the ingredients, like I love to explain the why behind things. Like we got a question the other day about the mineral sunscreen ingredients and whether they're nano or non-nano particles and like what the difference of those is. I love to answer questions like that, so please reach out. And it's so easy to find us because like you said, it's just brightgirl.com and it's spelled just like it sounds. So really easy. But in terms of a starter regimen, if you are new to the brand, I would say just start with our cleanser and moisturizer. Our Day and Bright Moisturizer is our hero product. It has won numerous awards. It is just that perfect combination of ingredients, the humectants that draw hydration into your skin, those emollients that help repair your skin barrier, and then those occlusives that keep that moisturization locked in. It's got ashwagandha and turmeric and marshmallow root and mushroom extract. It's filled with all these beautiful nutrients, and it's really just such a lovely, lovely product. So just starting with those two, and then I would also highly recommend though our mineral sunscreens, and the reason is because they are so cosmetically elegant. Mineral sunscreens have gotten a bad rap because they have historically been very pasty and thick and hard to absorb, and especially for darker skin tones.
Yeah, it sort of leaves like a white streak, like a white overcast, and yeah.
Right, almost like this grayish white.
Yeah.
That was like a non-starter for me. We tested so many dozens, no, I think it was hundreds of formulations before we landed on the ones that we have now. And I'm just so proud of them, Liz. I think that they really do perform beautifully on darker skin tones as they do on fairer skin tones. But it is really the mineral-based sunscreen it's the biggest anti-aging product that you can use. You
There you
can
go.
throw all the fancy face creams and all the like trendy ingredients. None of those are as effective as sunscreen because it comes down to that prevention piece
Yeah.
again. So,
Yeah.
so really keep it really those few things is all you need to start. And we have a really, really high returning customer rate of over 80. So most individuals that try Bright Girl really love it and stick with us. And through that, we build this incredible community and we educate through a weekly newsletter. We have a blog on our website. We do a lot on social media. And even in our packaging, there are little educational messages sprinkled in there. So we're really all about doing that again in a very fact-based and evidence-supported manner.
Wonderful. Well, the audience, if you have any questions for Dr. Casey, or if you just want to check out Bright Girl and recommend it to your friends or for yourself, it's brightgirl.com. And
we need to do a discount code for your audience.
yes, absolutely.
What do you like for your discount code? What do you usually use with brands? Do you want it to be Foreign Lady? Do you want it
just Foreign Lady.
Just Foreign Lady. Okay.
Yeah.
Foreign Lady, all one word, 25 off.
There you go.
Good.
There you
Yeah.
go. So if you
Great.
go to brightgirl.com and use the key code Foreign Lady, you'll get 25% off your first order. So
Yes.
sounds like a
Amazing.
good deal.
Thank you, Liz.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Casey. I mean, I've learned a lot. I'm sure our audience has learned so much. Once again, please tell everyone where they can find you on social media if they have any questions or just want to reach out and say hello or, anything like that.
Yeah, really easy. You'll find us at Bright Girl Beauty, all one word, no spaces, spelled just like it sounds. And we're really active on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And then our website again is just Bright Girl.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And once again, please make sure you support Dr. Casey. Make sure you support Bright Girl. And we enjoy you listening in today's episode. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.